Hi, I'm Scott Lucas with Lucas Financial Services and Wisdom Tax Group, and my Wisdom Wednesday message. Today I wanted to talk about, you hear all the time there's complaints billionaires don't pay their fair share, or they're using these tax loopholes, or they're doing these things to avoid taxes. And so tax avoidance is actually legal. Tax evasion is illegal. But the truth is most of what they're doing is just simply smart tax planning. And the real secret is a lot of those same strategies that they use are available to you. You just need to know that they exist and how to use them. So let me give you a few examples that on the surface would sound like it's exclusive, but actually available to everyone. The first one is just unrealized gains. So let's say, for example, you're in the news, Jeff Bezos' net worth increased $20 billion last year, and he didn't pay any taxes on that. The truth is, if let's suppose you had $10,000 that you owned in Amazon stock, and Amazon stock grew in 20% that year, that means you made $2,000 on your $10,000 investment. You owe no tax either, right? And so that's just unrealized capital gains, and that happens a lot. And I hate that when the media quotes some of these things, people, that these billionaires made this, they didn't pay tax on it. Nobody does, actually. That's just how capital gains work. Another example is charitable giving with benefits. You hear a lot about charities. They can be actually a very useful tool and things that make a lot of sense. And many times people do donate to various charities, and they're trying to avoid capital gains. So they can take an asset that is appreciated in value, and they decide they're going to transfer it to the charity. They don't have to pay capital gains tax on that transfer. And if it's an income producing asset, let's suppose it's a rental or it's a dividend paying stock or something like that, you can actually still continue to receive all of the income from that investment that you donated to the charity for the rest of your life. At your death, that asset then ends up going to the charity. But in the meantime, you got a tax deduction for giving it to them, and you get to receive all the income benefits. Very simple charitable giving strategy that anyone else can use. This other one is a little bit of a different twist. Back in March, I was down working on a project down in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I had the privilege of going to Rick Hendrick's private car collection, which was unbelievable, of Hendrick's Motorsports. And the guy's a billionaire. This car collection was worth somewhere between $100 and $150 million. And one of the cars that they had recently taken in, they said, we got it for the charity, gave it to charity. It's still in his showroom. He's able to use it. He doesn't really drive many of those cars, but he's got the benefit or the privilege of having it as part of his car collection. At his passing, that ends up going to the charity. And it was all a deduction and something that he owned and had personal use of. The thing is, you can actually create your own charitable strategy. You can probably set it up for $2,000 to $5,000 in legal fees, and you don't have to put a $5 million Ferrari in that charitable trust. It could be a $15,000 classic Mustang that you love, that you keep around your house, and at your passing, it goes to the charity. You can do the same thing. You don't have to be a billionaire. Here's another one that's really interesting. It's nicknamed the Augusta Rule, and it had to do with, I think back in the early 70s, people would rent their homes out at Augusta National during the Masters tournament, and they rented out for some pretty big income. And the truth is, it's called the 14-day rule, or it's sometimes called the Augusta Rule. But those people sometimes rent those places out for $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 for a week for organizations that might be hosting events on the golf course. And the truth is that those people do not have to report that as taxable income, tax-free income to them, okay? Now, the real thing that you need to be aware of is that you can't do that more than 14 days a year. So let's suppose you're going to go on vacation and you want to Airbnb your property or your house out for a couple weeks, maybe get a couple $1,000s. It's not taxable to you as long as you don't go over that 14-day limit. So whether it's a multi-million-dollar mansion on a golf course or your own personal residence, if you want to rent it out, as long as you don't rent more than 14 days per year, it's all tax-free income. And that's something that I use to host events at my house. So I'm able to take taxable income and make it into a deduction, collect it tax-free. You just got to follow the rules. So anyway, there's a lot of different things that can be done. They're tax laws, they're not loopholes, and they're available to everyone. The difference is the wealthy people, they plan ahead and they get guidance. And that's something that we can help with. So don't fall for the myth that the rich play by different rules. They just play smarter, and you can too. Thank you, and have a great day.